Navigating office politics as an HR manager feels like you're walking on a tightrope. One wrong move and suddenly you're taking sides, you're not being supportive, or you're too soft on that one department. The worst part of it all, no one teaches you how to handle all this that comes with the HR leadership role. You just expect to figure it out as you go. If office politics have you feeling stressed, confused, or questioning your own confidence, this video help you understand what's really going on. I'm Graddick, and I started my HR career as an unpaid intern. Today, I work in executive leadership as Chief Administrative Officer. The truth is this: I didn't move up because I played politics. I moved up because I learned how to read people, how to lead myself, and how to stay grounded, even with things I messy at work. If you're not subscribed to the channel this year, I invite you to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to be notified every time I drop a new video about ways to elevate your own HR career, and let me know in the comments, what's the hardest part about office politics for you right now? Remember this: office politics are not about drama. It's about power, perception, trust, and influence. If you want to be taken as an HR leader without becoming a political player, you need to understand these unwritten rules. Unwritten rule number 1: office politics are about people, not policies. The newer you are as HR leadership, the more likely you are to believe that office politics is about manipulating people or even rule breaking. But in reality, it's more about unspoken expectations, people protecting themselves, leaders wanting control, and even teams navigating power dynamics. I believe anytime you get any group of people together, there's always be conflict. So it's wrong to think that if you lead into another role, that you're going to one day find this magical workplace where everyone's going to work together on 100% of all the projects with no issues. That's just not reality. So understanding that it's not about who can you manipulate or who can you get on your side. We'll cover that topic in a few minutes. But it's really about understanding the people that you lead, but first understanding yourself. So one of the first modules that I teach in my program is how to lead yourself first and lead yourself well, because I truly believe that's your foundation. You cannot do anything. You can't lead others well. You can't lead projects well. You can't lead your programs well without leading yourself first. So what's that look like? That looks like knowing the values that you hold, the biases that you have toward other people, what you think about leadership as in general, not just your current leader or yourself in leadership, but what do you believe about leadership? What do you believe about what it takes to be successful? What is your goal for yourself? These are all questions that we unpack in my program, because I think that as HR leaders, we are fixers, we're doers, and we want to get in there and make a big impact. But it's unfair to yourself and unrealistic to others to expect you to go in there and just start knocking things down and just taking things on for head on without first doing the work to understand the value that you bring and why you're doing things you're doing. Think of this work in the very beginning as your foundation and everything else that I build on top of this. If you're anything like me, you pour out to other people all the time, whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, whether it is your loved ones, whether it's your church, whether like anywhere you are, you pour out into everyone else. I know that for myself. But if I were to ask you right now, what do you do to pour back into yourself? How do you fill your own cup? How do you engage your own success outside of your rate of pay, outside of your title? How do you know yourself that you've been successful? Those are tougher questions to answer. So again, in my program, these are the first modules to cover, because I think it's so important to slow down, to do this inner work first, because we need this to build on top of each other. For example, one of my leading values is my faith. Like, that's foundational for me. I am big in my church. I believe in being in community with other people. I believe in pouring into other people. I believe in being the light of the world. And so everything I do, when I show up on my job, when I show up in this business, when I show up on my channel, I'm trying to be the light of the world, to bring others closer to God, to show others how much God loves them. That's what I'm called to do. And I hope that resonates and hope it shows in the way I show up, because it's leading me. It's my foundation. But you got to figure out what your foundation is. What's leading you to want to chase that title? What's leading you to want to make a bigger impact? Why is it so important for you? These are things that even we unpack on my calls, because I want to get to the bottom of not only what title do you want or what do you want to make when you reach your ultimate goal, but what's your why? Understanding your why is so foundational. Without that, this next things we're going to talk about is going to be so much more difficult. The more you understand yourself, the better it will be to understand other people. Once you understand what's leading you and what's giving you motivation, you easily be able to connect with other people to figure out what their why is as well, and also to help you understand where they're coming from. So when you think about office politics, the more you understand yourself, the better you understand people, the better you can navigate these tricky dynamics sometimes. Unwritten rule number 2: your reaction shapes your reputation. Office politics are not about what happens to you. They're about how you respond to what happens to you. Your emotional regulation becomes your brand. I think we all know people in the workplace, maybe even people in our lives, but certainly in the workplace where when things go wrong, when they get stressed out, they literally act like their hair's on fire. They're the most horrible people to be around. They're just act like they just can't get a grip. And we, as women in the workplace, we don't have the luxury of being that emotional, of being that unregulated, of being that frantic. We've got to learn how to measure ourselves well, how to make sure we're maintaining our composure in all times. And that doesn't mean to be a robot, because again, you're a person. You got real feelings. You got to express those feelings. You got to be able to manage yourself appropriately, professionally. So again, it's not about being perfect, but you got to measure. I heard it said once that it's not about chasing perfection. It's about being consistently above average. And I think it's a good way to look at it. So if you chase perfection, that's impossible. But chasing excellence, I think that's a different thing. The way you respond to things is going to lean back on the very first point that I made about understanding yourself so well and knowing how you're going to react to certain situations. But again, understanding that when things go wrong, because they will go wrong, you got to know that yourself so well to know what to say yes to, what to say no to. In a way, pick your battles. Believe it or not, everyone in the workplace has a reputation. And the one thing that you can control is how you respond to situations. So you can't control what people think about you, say about you, believe about you, but you can give them some reasons to believe things positively. So if you have your composure, and most times if you have a measured way of speaking, it's even when you don't know the answer, you don't let that frazzle you completely. And again, it's a learned skill. You got to find ways to learn what you need to learn, close those gaps to build in the development needs that you have. But again, remember this, if you get nothing else from this video, remember your reactions shape how other people see you. How you carry yourself when things get messy determines how people see you. I believe in this way. You are the leader that you are when things go wrong. Anyone can be a leader when things are going great. Anyone can be a leader when things are going their way. Anyone can be a leader when things are on the up and up. But you are the leader that you are when things don't go your way, when things are kind of falling apart. That is the leader that you are. Unwritten rule number 3, you need allies, not sides. Newer HR leaders believe that you must be neutral to be fair. And I think that's true to a point. I do believe that HR as a function is there to be that neutral third party between the business and the employee, to be able to advocate for either side depending on the circumstance. But I think chasing neutrality is a dangerous place, because in that case, you're serving no one. You want to make sure that beyond trying to choose sides, you're building relationships. And that means learning how and when to manage that relationship well, manage across with your peer leaders, manage with your team if you're serving others, with other people that you're working with, if you're the HR leader, but other departments, other units. Building relationships is really the key. It's not necessarily about choosing sides, because if you choose a side, so to speak, then you're going to always be leaning in that direction. So I think that when it comes to navigating office politics, it's not about choosing a side, and it's not about choosing neutrality. Those are not the right options. The better things to do is to build relationships in the workplace. So identify, what relationships do you need to build? What relationships have the biggest impact on your career? What relationships have the biggest impact on your department and the work that you're sending your department? Who are your informal leaders and your formal leaders? They give you all the things we unpack in my program, but I think it's really important, even for the topic of office politics, as you're navigating these spaces, you don't want to make the wrong moves. You don't want to spend all these years doing things you might have to unlearn. And you're burning bridges instead of building bridges. The bottom line here, don't try to pick a side. Build relationships. Unwritten rule number 4, your silence sends a message. Many new HR managers stay quiet because they fear backlash. But silence can sometimes be misinterpreted as agreement, bias, or even disengagement. So the points here that I want to make is use your voice. Don't think that being silent makes you safe. If anything, your silence keeps you invisible. And in HR, and especially in the age of AI and all the things, we need to make sure that HR leaders are being visible. The work that you do is so powerful. But I liken it to, it's like the picture of a duck, where you have a duck that's on water. On surface, on top of the water, you just see the duck is just gliding across the sea or across the pond, just glide. Underneath that water, that duck is moving those feet, moving those feet, moving those feet. And to me, that's how an HR department will run. So beneath the surface of it all, HR is working your tail off. You're doing so much work that goes unnoticed, because people expect HR to work, because if it doesn't work, it gets noticed. But if it's working like it should, then there's nothing to see here. And so your silence in all of that keeps you invisible, keeps you replaced, keeps you on the potential chopping block where they're trying to reduce redundancies and cut costs. So you got to make sure that you speak up on behalf of the people being served, whether it's your employees that are speaking up, whether it's your leaders that are speaking up, whether the policy needs to change, whether the practice needs to change, or mentality needs to shift, or culture needs to shift. Use your voice. I believe wholeheartedly HR has so many gems. We've got all the data. We have all the data about the employee experience. We have data about not only hire separations, but if we're taking surveys on employee engagement, if we're doing it annually or quarterly or however long we're doing it, if we're doing exit interviews, we're doing stay reviews, we have so much data around retirement plan participation, around retention, around all these things. You got so much data. And I have a whole nother video about the metrics around the work and things you can look at as well. But use your voice, use your perspective. The finance team doesn't know what you know. Operations doesn't know what you know. So use your unique voice or you will lose it. The last thing that you want to do is have your silence be misinterpreted. Use your voice and speak up for yourself. The best HR leaders don't necessarily speak more, they just speak on purpose. Unwritten rule number 5, protect your credibility, not your popularity. New HR leaders often want to be liked because the role in HR is so isolated. But HR leadership is built on trust, not popularity. Now, if you do all the things what we've been talking about so far in this video, you're understanding what you bring to the world, you are using your voice, you're speaking up for others, you're building a relationship, popularity or, being amiable will work in your benefit. But popularity is not something you should chase. Relationship building, again, is the point you should chase. But you got to have the credibility to go behind it. So again, credibility means making sure you are able to, if you say you're going to do something, then do it. If you're going to send an email by the end of the day, send the email by the end of the day. If you're going to do something by the end of business tomorrow, do it by the end of business tomorrow. Every time you don't do what you say you're going to do, your credibility is undermined each and every time. So again, you have to build your personal brand in that way as well. Your credibility is something that must be protected, especially if you're a Department of One. So I worked for a Department of One for several years. And at that time, I was the HR department. So if the HR department failed, that was my failure. So I took it seriously. And so I think that when you're working, especially when you're working alone, but even when you're part of a team, your credibility is something you should never compromise on. Stay credible, use your voice, make sure you're knowledgeable about what you're speaking about, going to your data. Don't just be a part of the business. Make sure you know about what's going on in your own department so you can have those very valuable things to contribute, not only for the HR department, but at the business level as well. Remember this, you can be respected without being everyone's favorite. It's not the goal to be everyone's favorite. It's not the goal to be everyone's friend. You should be fair, consistent, and fair does not always mean equal. But consistent might mean just make sure that people in similarly situated positions are treated similarly. And that's just not a nicety. That's the law. Like you want to make sure you're not discriminating against people. So again, the goal should never be to chase friendships, chase popularity, because people will come and go. But your credibility is something you should never compromise on. Here's the truth. Office policies aren't going anywhere, but you can learn to navigate them with confidence, clarity, and integrity without changing who you are. The more you understand people, the more powerful you become as an HR leader. And you're already on the right track just by being here and watching this video. Comment down below the words HR career success. Now, see you links to book a one-on-one call me to talk about what you are in your career, where you want to go, and how we can work together to fill those gaps. If you made it all the way to the video, let me know down in the comments by putting in the words building relationships. Want to make sure you hear me clear on this. The whole point of navigating office politics is this, building relationships. Once you understand the political landscape, the fastest way to strengthen your credibility is with data. Number cut through the clutter every single time. In the next video, I'm going to show you 9 HR metrics that every HR manager should track to demonstrate real impact. I'll see you there.